even brushing my teeth at night. I'll never forget when I was in my darkest days, I struggled to brush my teeth before I went to bed. That's how low I was, right? And I could go on about other things that were difficult. And when you're in that state, I think a lot of people make the mistake of being like, okay, I'm going to hit the gym and I'm going to do cold baths and I saw Joe Rogan do a 17-minute ice bath, so I'm going to get in there. And you just don't take tolerable steps. And then you eventually crash and burn and revert back to the old program because you don't have the capacity to go through that and endure that. So what I did was tolerable steps. It started with brushing my fucking teeth before I went to bed. Because how am I supposed to be a successful business leader, a successful person in this world, and show up and create abundance in my life if I can't even brush my teeth at night, if I can't even keep my kitchen clean? Like it started with that. And then what happened was they were tolerable. And then over time, Matt, it's just like that dial. I still have the fear. I still have the insecurities. I still feel like a hot mess sometimes and a loosely functioning disaster. But the dial is just turned so far down that it's like, it's just much more quiet and it's much more tolerable. And I also just know what I'm doing. It's like Bruce Lee who said, like, don't wish it was easier, wish you were stronger. And life is actually probably more difficult than it used to be because I've self-inflictedly took on lots of responsibility and challenges. And I got to put out fires every day and things go wrong and not my way. But I just remind myself, like, that I got this and I have resilience. And as Winston Churchill said, success is going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. So it's just my enthusiasm is just so heightened that that dial has just been turned down so much after years of repetition.
I love it, man. So there's a couple things that I've heard you say that I very much resonate with, and from a 30,000 foot view, there's ways to potentially pit these things against each other. I don't pit them against each other in my life, and I don't think you do either. And so this concept of kind of perfectionism and how you've chosen to reframe perfectionism, and then also this concept of achievement and the role achievement plays in men healing and this reprogramming, right? And so, and I don't know which one to maybe go down the rabbit hole first. Maybe I'll talk the healing side first. Like I've heard you talk about, again, I like this word, like achievement to heal. One of the things I don't love about, and I've been open about this, about a lot of therapy practices, and I'm not saying therapy is a bad thing, but what I don't love a lot about it for a lot of men is that it's let's just sit and stew on the problem versus let's go take some massive action because there's a lot of healing that comes out of that. And you're no longer overthinking because really what you were doing was underacting. And so now when you act, you're counterbalancing that, right? And so can you elaborate on how kind of the goal and the achievement process has been therapeutic for you? And then maybe we'll tie that to the to that kind of reframing perfectionism.
Man, this is such a good question. This is one of my favorite topics. I deem the overarching problem with therapy for men nowadays, and I'm sure it's always been this way, is that it is very much a feminine approach.
Yes, sir.
So if we look at masculine versus feminine dynamics, we have to look, the way in which how I said I went from like playing victim and, I went from instead of reacting to those internal unhealthy patterns and insecurities and fear, I started responding because losers take action based off how they feel, and winners and men who step into their healthy masculine, what they do is they make decisions based off their long-term values and commitments. So they respond in the way that takes courage. And if we look at masculine versus feminine dynamics, we have to understand that women heal. Let's look at feminine versus masculine. The feminine is being. It's going back to self. Masculine is doing in the external world, right? And we could call it like mother energy, warrior energy. We could say emotion versus logic and reasoning. We could look at, warrior. I think I already said warrior versus mother. Like that's really the difference of masculine versus feminine dynamics. And we got to look at how women heal versus how men heal. Men still have wounds, okay? We still have trauma. We're still dealing with, our dad didn't tell us he's proud enough, of us. He didn't tell us we love him. Maybe he abandoned us. He rejected us. He was hard on us. We still are dealing with those as men. But how women heal is by primarily, it's not that we don't need a little bit of one or the other, because men do need to be in their feminine sometimes, but women heal primarily by going back to self and reflection to self, building relationship with self, processing emotions, feeling it to heal it. And again, it's not that men don't, there's no utility in that for men, but it's not how we primarily heal. How we primarily heal and how we get into alignment with our, I'm going to call it element and what makes us fulfilled and
Mm,
our ancestral primal conditioning is to go out in the external world and do the fucking thing so that we have to go through the process of doing the thing, facing the challenge. Our wounds come up to the surface, and we have to regulate in real time through that. And on the other side of regulating through those challenges is more resilience, more inner security, more confidence, and more fulfillment.